Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial. In this one, we're gonna create a Houdini asset that populate any wooden kind of like floor plan into a wooden floor. Okay, so something like this. If we do have like a grid or whatever that is basically flat on the ground and having all its lines straight, let me make it like 8 times for the size, and then we can go select some of the faces and then delete. This is just for testing, right? So I'm gonna quickly make something. Okay, maybe get rid of that. Oops. Get rid of that and that, and then keep that. All right, delete that. Okay, cool. So let's say this is the floor plan here. Okay, and we wanted to populate planks on top of this. Okay, but we also don't really need this plan. So the idea here is that we cut this guy into smaller planks. Okay, now there's a problem already. You could get a model like this that's kind of like having internal lines, right? So we need some cleanup before we start cutting. We need to create a divide node. And then we can say no convex polygons and then remove sharp edges. This is gonna make it all empty. But you still have the points on the edge, which is not cool either. So now the facet node will help us to remove the internal inline points. Okay, this is gonna give us a clean floor plan. And grab all these guys, and then make a subnetwork and call this guy cleanup. Let's create another null node. I'm gonna call this guy ground plane input. Alright? Because that's whatever goes into here will spit out a wooden floor, basically. Or it could be like a bridge or a pier, whatever. Okay, that's the input. That's the starting of the procedural. And then we clean up first, right? And then we move on to cut it. A divide node would do that nicely. So we can say I want to divide it not convex polygon, but breaker polygons. You can see we have this unit square because every direction x and y and z is going to cut this thing into every 1 unit chunks. Okay, now I wanted to cut it only on one direction and probably x direction, so I'm going to change that to 0.2. For the other 2 direction, I don't want to cut, so I'm going to change it to something real big. That just basically means that it's trying to cut a big chunk, which will have cut nothing because nothing is that big. Okay, cool. The unit here is that in the default settings, it's going to be 1 meter. 1 unit is 1 meter, so like that's why we don't have to worry about this big number. It shouldn't in any case cause the problem. Alright, but we do have a problem already. You can see, well, this is not looking good, right? You can see the plank is this size, but this one is kind of like doing that, right? So we kind of wanted to be able to control the size of this one so that it's not shrinking to this. Basically, we want to snap all the points to every this much unit, right? This much unit for the plank size. So we do have the size here, but I wanted this guy to be also flexible. Okay, and we're going to make a Houdini asset. So I'm going to grab all these things, go to asset and new digital asset. I'm going to call this guy plank generator. And accept that. It's going to save somewhere. Yeah. I'm going to go to the parameters and drag in a float. I'm going to call this guy plank size. Copy that and paste it in here. And it's going to be ranging from 0.1 to 1. 1 meter is already too wide for plank. Default setting in the channels will be 0.1, and then we can apply and accept this for now. Copy that parameter. Go inside of our asset now. Go to the divide and right click and paste relative reference. Okay. Now just for the performance purposes, we can make it 0.2 to have lesser planks to worry about. All right, cool. So let's deal with the problem. To move out, snap out the points to, you know, this much of a size, it's actually not that difficult. All we have to do is get an attribute wrangle here, and then we get the size of the plank from the upper stream. So float plank size will be equals to the channel of our, let's see, I forget the name of that. This is copy parameter here, and then go inside, and yeah, I have a really short memory, so let's paste it here. Yeah, it's called plank size. So I have to retap that. Float plank size will be equals to this guy. It's not a string channel, it's just the channel. Okay, this will give us the plank size. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to scale and run up our plank x values, right? This direction for every point. We're running over the points. So at point position dot x will be equals to the current position dot x, and we divide the plank size. Okay, and then we run it up. Okay, now the reason we're dividing it here is because if we divide it because it's a small number, we're going to result in some bigger number, right? Really big number for all these guys. We run them up, right? So they're going to be, you know, bigger. They're going to be really big. Let's take a look at that. Is they're going to be stretched to be really big, but they're also kind of like snapped to every unit now because we're running them up, right? Now after stretching to like an even grade, we just have to time the size of the plank size. Now because this is 1, right? Because we run it up, this is going to be 1, 1, 1, and we make it again back to the plank size. Then we got the original size. But the differences is that we snap those guys to like everyone to be, you know, around. Everyone is going to be exactly the same width now. Okay, which is pretty cool. We can call this guy snapping or an aligning, whatever you can. Basically, I think aligning will be a better name, or snapping. Don't know, maybe aligning is the better way to say what this guy is doing, but you could name those differently. And naming is actually quite important. You don't want it to be confusing, right? So this is aligning it to all these guys. All right, that's kind of like 7 minutes already. So let's have a break, and moving on to the next, I want to talk about, you know, if there's any error here in the setup. There is actually an error, and how we can fix it and how we can move on from there. Okay, see you next time.